Hey everyone, and welcome back to part 2. Today we're going to be working on this design here, and we're going to be using a 2-needle flat stitch. Hopefully you can kind of see a little bit better. It's just simple 2 colors, something that you can do with your starter kits. So the first thing you want to do is get 2 needles. The first one, which is your leading thread, you want to double up and tie 2 knots on top of each other in the end, and then cut the tail threads. For your tacking thread, you can double it up or you can leave it single-stranded. It's up to you. So with our leading thread, we're going to thread it through the back of the felt and pull all the way through. You want to be close to your center, but not right up against it. So for our first row, we're going to use only gold. So go ahead and put on as much gold beads as you want. It doesn't really matter because we're not going to, like our lead needle isn't going to go through the felt until we're towards the end. So just go ahead and put on as many as you want. And then we'll start tacking down after that. So I'm going to use about this many to start with. And go ahead and slide them down all the way to where your thread first pops up out of the felt, and then wrap it around your center like this and hold it pretty tight. I normally put my thumb right there, but it's kind of hard to do with these nails. But it doesn't really matter as long as you're holding onto your string tight and making sure your beads are sitting where you want them when you're tacking them down. So now I'm going to take my tacking thread, and I've already doubled this one up and knotted it. Like I said, you don't have to double it up, but I just do it out of force of habit. So you're going to come up every 2 beads. So see there, you can see me popping up between those 2 beads. And so you're going to come up on the outside of those beads, and then take your needle and go on the inside of those same beads. Pull your needle all the way down. And then I actually get a little bit of a tangle here. As you can see, I'm just pulling it down. There we go. It took me a while to get the tangle out, so I just cut that scene out. But here we are. I've pulled my thread through, and as you can see, it's holding those 2 beads down, which is what we want. So now we're just going to do the same thing all the way through. We're going to come up in between those 2 beads. There we go. And just pull your string, go on the opposite side of those beads, and you really want to make sure with your leading thread that your beads aren't getting too loose and your string isn't loose, because then when you tack it down it's going to look funny. So make sure that you're holding that leading thread and pushing those beads back when you tack down. Just like that. And some people like wrap their leading thread around their fingers, and that helps them like stabilize it more, which is fine. If that works for you, that works for you. I really don't like the 2-needle flat stitch just because I'm like a 1-needle type of person. But there's nothing wrong with it. If you like the 2-needle flat stitch better, that works for you. If you like the 1-needle flat stitch better, it's all a matter of preference. I prefer the 1-needle flat stitch if I'm beading around a center like you do for these earrings. If I was doing a pattern where you had to draw an outline and then bead your outline and fill in, I would definitely use the 2-needle flat stitch for your outline, just because I feel like I would have a little bit more control of the placement of my beads. But for something like this, I would definitely use the 1-needle flat stitch. So now that we're getting kind of low on beads, I'm going to go ahead and add more gold beads. Like I said earlier, it doesn't matter how many gold beads you have on at a time on your leading thread, because when we get to the end, if you have too many, you can always take some off. So don't be shy about putting them on. I just like to make sure I still have enough room on my leading thread to kind of hold it down and keep it in place. So as long as you have control, it doesn't really matter. It's going to be the same thing. We come up on the outside of every 2 beads and then go down on the inside. And you're just going to do this all the way around until we get to the end. So I'll just go ahead and speed it up here. You do want to watch out for tangles. A lot of the time when your tangles happen, it's either because your strings are just crossed and you'll have to uncross them, or your needle accidentally went between the threads. So you'll just have to watch out for that. A good way to keep them off is by using beeswax. So now I'm on the end. I'm making sure I have enough beads left to fit through, and I'm actually going to go through those first 2 beads of my row, pull the string through nice and tight, and I'm just going to hold it there while I finish tacking down. So that way there's no like weird gaps between the starting and the ending of my bead row. So same thing, pull up on the outside, go down on the inside. And then once we are done here, I'm going to go ahead and reinforce it. It's completely up to you if you want to reinforce your beadwork or not. If your rows look really nice, I wouldn't worry about it. I just do it because I feel like sometimes I have 1 or 2 beads that are sticking out kind of funny, and I feel like that really helps them look more uniform and makes my rows look nicer. But like I said, it's completely optional. It's whatever you want to do. So I'll go ahead and speed it up while I reinforce my beads here. If you didn't watch my other video, all I do is I go through as many beads as I can and pull my string nice and tight, and then I pick up where I left off. So if I came out of that bead there, I would go down into the next bead. Sorry, poor camera skills here. But I would just pull through like that. And I would only do this with my leading thread. I don't do it with my tack thread. You can see a little bit better there. So I came out of that bead, and I'm going to go into the next bead and go through as many beads as I can and then pull my needle through. And that's just how you reinforce it. So now that we've come to the end of our row, you can just go ahead and put your needle down through the felt by that last bead that you came out of. If you didn't want to reinforce your work, you could just go down through the thread through those first 2 beads that you went through to finish tacking. So now we're going to go ahead and start our second row. So for this row, you're going to do 1 big blue bead and then 3 gold beads. And you're going to do that all the way around. We're trying to make a triangle here, and since our first row is all gold, it doesn't really matter how many beads you start with on your second row. When I do triangles, I like to do odd numbers. Like I like to go 5, 3, 1. I had tried previously to do like every number, so go like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I felt like it didn't really look like a triangle. I mean, it did, but it didn't. But I feel like when I do either just odd numbers or just even numbers, it looks more like a triangle, and I like it better. So for this row, like I said, we're going to do 3 gold, but next row we're going to do 1 gold bead. So once you have them on, go ahead and hold your leading thread nice and tight, and then take your tacking thread. You're going to go every 2 beads, come up on the outside, and then go down on the inside. And if you have any questions about this video or any of my other videos, you can leave me comments or you can message me. I do have an Instagram and a TikTok, and I'm working on a Facebook page. It's all new to me because I used to just sell earrings at powwows with my family, but of course with this whole quarantine thing, now I'm just doing it at home. So I'm trying to get out there a little bit, but you know, as everything, it takes a while. And so that's how you do the second row. See there? For your third row, you're going to go 1 gold bead and then 3 to 4 blue beads. And that just depends on the size of the beads, because I know like these aqua blue ones, they're not very uniform in size. So sometimes you'll need 3 beads in between every gold bead, and other times you'll need 4. But as long as it looks nice, it doesn't really matter. And then of course here, I'm just reinforcing my work now, which like I said is optional. I feel like especially with these ones, since the blue ones are a little bit bigger around than the gold ones, I definitely want to reinforce it so that they just look a little bit nicer and it doesn't look as odd. But it's completely up to you. And then of course, this is the last row that I'm going to do. So once I'm done with this, I'll just go ahead and put my needle back down through the felt and then tie it off. So same thing like we did last time. You'll do 1 knot and then you'll do a surgeon's knot. You don't have to do the surgeon's knot. I just feel like for my last knot, it's just a little extra reinforcement. And then once you're done and you've tied your knot and everything, you can go ahead and cut around your felt. If you're doing a blanket stitch, you can cut pretty close to your earring. If you were doing like 1 bead at a time to do your edging, and you want to go through the felt and not through your bead rows, you want to cut a little further away from your earring just to give you enough room to do that. And then of course, when you're ready to do like your backing and adding on your posts or your hooks, I have a video for that as well. So now you guys know how to do your 2 needle flat stitch. You have another pattern to add to your collection there. Thanks for watching. Leave any comments down below. Bye.